US President Donald Trump remains at the center of controversies. The NATO summit has added to that long list. In the latest, US President Donald Trump did not mince his words while speaking about the Canadian Prime Minister during a press conference. A reporter asked the president about the footage that has emerged of Justin Trudeau appearing to make jokes and mocking Donald Trump, and that video has gone viral overnight. To which Donald Trump responded by calling the Canadian Prime Minister two-faced and then a nice guy.
Well, he's two-faced.
Do you think that Germany is too naive?
And honestly, with Trudeau, he's a nice guy. I find him to be a very nice guy. But, you know, the truth is that I called him out on the fact that he's not paying 2%. And I guess he's not very happy about it. I mean, you were there, a couple of you were there, and he's not paying 2%, and he should be paying 2%. It's Canada, they have money, and they should be paying 2%. So I called him out on that, and I'm sure he wasn't happy about it, but that's the way it is. Look, I'm representing the U.S.
The Canadian Prime Minister was seen making jokes in what appears to be the video that saw the world leaders mocking Donald Trump. The US president went on to say that he had called out Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau for failing to meet the target of spending 2% of the national output on defense, and said that Justin Trudeau was two-faced for the comments that he appeared to have made about him. And let's play out for you that entire sequence that has been making news. This was during the reception hosted by the Queen at Buckingham Palace that's been making news. The video appears to show Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson, and French President Emmanuel Macron mocking Donald Trump. That video has gone viral. Take a look. And our correspondent Holly Hudson is now joining us live from London. The last 2 days of that NATO summit that have made news for all the wrong reasons, it seems. Holly, a lot of controversy is doing the rounds. Tell us more about the mood that currently continues to dominate the NATO summit.
Yes, well, this summit's become pretty notable for the frosty and pretty tense exchanges and the barbs that have been traded between world leaders. Pretty much more of the same, as you said there, between President Trump and now Justin Trudeau, the Canadian Prime Minister, who Trump is now taking aim at over those comments that he says were two-faced of the Canadian Prime Minister. He's also, of course, traded blows with the French President Emmanuel Macron over his comments that the NATO alliance was brain dead. Donald Trump saying those were nasty and disrespectful remarks. So this summit here has very much become known for the disputes and disagreements that have once again reared their head. However, we've just heard from Jens Stoltenberg, the Secretary General of NATO, who said actually the mood here has been very positive. They have just held a roundtable discussion, the 29 NATO members, world leaders, and that was very positive, very constructive. They've made a lot of decisions, he says, but of course disagreements are always what attracts more attention than agreements. He did say that all of the leaders have committed to Article 5 of the alliance, which is essentially all for one and one for all. He said that commitment is ironclad. We've heard from Boris Johnson as well, saying it's true to say that NATO is a successful alliance and will endure for another 70 years. So both Boris Johnson, the host, of course, of the summit here, and the head of NATO, trying to project unity, trying to reassure those that the cracks have been papered over, but yet more signs of fresh disputes among its members.
Right, and Macron has already called the NATO alliance brain dead. Donald Trump has called those comments nasty, and another round of confrontations, of course, witnessed today as well. But setting all that aside, Holly, how valid is the argument that the American president has been making over the member states not doing enough or not contributing enough when it comes to NATO finance?
Well, we heard from Jens Stoltenberg, the Secretary General, say that they have made a commitment to defence spending, and he will do more to ensure that all of the nations do commit to this threshold that Donald Trump has been talking about, this 2% of GDP on defence. We heard Donald Trump say yesterday that he feels that the US is footing too much of the bill still, and that is unfair. He referred to nations that don't reach that threshold as being delinquent and called for them to up their spending. We've heard from Boris Johnson just in the last half an hour say that he's proud that the UK is one of those nations that has reached 2%, but there are currently only 6 that have. So Donald Trump, of course, it may well be music to his ears that that NATO says they will commit to doing more on that defence spending, but clearly still more to do as well.